Chapter 621 You Are Dead Today. The shark muscle, which had been wrapped in bandages, broke through and pierced out the thorns and tore the bandage. He stabbed Anmura-Nobumi's arm, pressed Anmura-Nobumi tightly and started tearing frantically, tearing Anmura-Nobumi directly into pieces. Woman, die, how can you challenge the majesty of my watermelon mountain puffer fish? An LT, P and GT. Seeing this scene, the watermelon mountain puffer ghost smiled proudly. Then, he pressed harder and went away, and Anmura-Nobume was directly bent his arm, and the shark muscle was torn even more violently. Anmura-Nobumi's arm was bloody, and chakra was devoured frantically, making her weaker and weaker. As expected of the 7 ninja swordsmen, their strength is really strong. Anmura-Nobume only felt a terrifying sense of crisis surrounding her. This feeling has not been felt for a long time. Only when he was pursued by the 5-tailed Manzuli at the beginning. But I'm not going to throw in the towel. Anmura-Nobume drank violently with a pale face, and slammed into a stand-in and disappeared. Do you think you can escape, woman? The watermelon mountain puffer fish suddenly put the shark muscle on the ground with a pestle and began to seal it. Water escape. Just as he was about to release ninjutsu, Nobume Yasunori appeared from behind him. In his hand, he holds a blue energy ball that exudes a powerful tearing power. Wind escape spiral pill. But the watermelon mountain puffer fish suddenly turned around and shouted, the art of hidden mist. Anmura-Nobumi was instantly dazed and completely lost her goal. Gia, woman, your life is mine. The voice of the watermelon mountain pufferfish is ethereal and full of murderous intent, making people panic. Really? There was no panic on Anmura's face, and before taking a long breath, the handprint was completed, wind escape gale palm. In the midst of a gigantic wind, Anmura-Nobume shook out 1,000 copies. Ha, you thought you were using Fengdun. Ah. Before the complacent words of the watermelon mountain puffer fish were finished, they suddenly screamed. Found you. Anmura-Nobume grinned Isho, and rushed towards the place where the screams were just now, and the spiral pill appeared again in her hand, die. She is confident that with this move, she can hit the watermelon mountain puffer fish. But. What? Where the screams came, there was no trace of the watermelon mountain puffer fish. Gia, do you really think that the 7 people who endure the sword are in vain? The voice of the watermelon mountain puffer fish suddenly came from behind Anmura-Nobume, followed by an extremely fast sound of breaking through the sky. Accept death, woman. The watermelon mountain puffer fish was drinking violently, and Anmura-Nobume was right in front of him, and he was confident to kill him with one move. Whoosh. Anmura-Nobume's double-duty technique was too fast, and the blow of the watermelon mountain puffer fish was still in vain. Hey! Behind him, there was a sound of breaking through the air, and without even thinking about it, he flexed his shark muscles and fought away. Hey! But Nobume Yasunori is gone again. Shish! Anmura-Nobume actually started to use the instant body technique continuously, making the watermelon mountain puffer fish miss a hit, and his troubles multiplied. HMPH, self-destruction, I want to see how long your instant body can last. Although the instant body technique is good, it needs to consume a lot of chakra. Nobume Yasunori has absorbed so many chakras, and now uses the teleportation technique frequently. He believes that Anmura-Nobume's chakra will bottom out soon. And just as he expected, Nobume Yasunori stopped. Chapter 622 Watermelon Mountain Pufferfish, die. Bang. It was another blow to touch, and the watermelon mountain pufferfish couldn't help laughing proudly. What's the matter, woman, where did all your strength go? With such a soft blow, are you embarrassed to come out and show shame? However, since you delivered it yourself, I will accept your life. Hee, is that so? Anmura-Nobume suddenly laughed when she heard the words. I should give you this sentence. My life, you're afraid you won't be able to take it. But your life, I'll take it. When the words fell, she saw a sudden burst of powerful force, which shocked the watermelon mountain pufferfish. The watermelon mountain pufferfish couldn't help laughing. If you want my life, you deserve it. Women, talking big has to pay a price. The watermelon mountain pufferfish directly chased away. In this fog, he is the absolute master. Hee hee, is that so? Then you should take a look at yourself, watermelon mountain pufferfish. Anmura Nobumi's voice came again, full of pride, and the watermelon mountain pufferfish couldn't help but look at his body. It doesn't matter if you look at it, it almost scared his soul out. Dozens of detonating charms were already pasted on his body. Do you think I use the shunshu technique frequently because I can't find an opportunity to attack? No, I'm just taking advantage of your arrogant mentality to build the plank road in the open and darken the warehouse. Your good day is here. Blast. Nobai and Anmura drank violently, but the ghost of the watermelon mountain pufferfish was frightened, and drank in fear. No. Boom. A huge explosion set off a manic fire wave and violent tremors. With the terrifying destructive power, the watermelon mountain puffer ghost whose half of his body had been blown up appeared in front of the crowd. Then, Anmura Nobume's ruthless knife ended his life. Wu Ren was horrified, and after the sluggish forging, the Konoha ninja burst into the sky with exclamations. Oh, Nobumi Yasunori is amazing. Nobu Yasun is beautiful. It's so reliable. The watermelon mountain puffer ghost is one of the 7 ninja swordsmen who are famous in the ninja world, and one of the admiral of Wuin village. Nobuomi Yasunori actually killed an opponent of this level with her own power. It really gave Konoha a big boost and boosted his morale. This kind of achievement is even more astonishing than the joint force escaping from the 5-tailed Manzuli. After all, this was done by Nobuomi Yasunori alone. On the contrary, Mist Ninja's morale plummeted. That is the pride of their village. They were killed just like that. Just kidding. Successful, woman. But just when the crowd cheered like this, a sharp red phantom suddenly appeared behind Anmura Nobuomi. What I saw was a 3-edged sickle attached to a chain. It's flying. Asshole. Seeing this scene, everyone in Konoha couldn't help but torn apart, but it was too late to rescue. Fire escape dragon fire request. At this moment, a loud shout came along with a straight line of flames, knocking the sickle away. A young man with extremely sharp eyes and a long sword appeared beside Anmura Nobuomi. Don't try to hurt our hero. If you can't protect your companions, Teacher Shajirching won't spare me. Who can say such a thing, besides Ma Kuro? Che, the little devil in the way, this will kill you. Feijuan rushed over again, but right behind him, several kunai shot towards him. Chapter 623 Fierce Battle Corner. Ding ding ding. Feijuan quickly returned to help and blocked Kuwu. He shouted, "Who is it?" But what responded to him was an even more severe kunai, which made him suddenly angry, facing it directly, not dodging or dodging. Oh, it's really a headache for you not to avoid it. But it's okay, it's almost finished anyway. A female voice came, and Feijuan saw a smiling, carefree girl in front of him. You know what? I studied you carefully and found a good way to kill you. As she said that, she saw her flying out of kunai again, but without waiting for the flying section to dodge, she automatically dispersed. Kunai is distributed in various parts of the flying section, and the dog's teeth are different. Looking at this scene, Konoha's group of ninjas seemed to understand something, and they couldn't help showing excitement and anticipation. Feijuan, your time of death is here. The girl suddenly stood up and laughed. What a joke, woman, you haven't hurt me yet, where is the death period? The flying section exploded immediately, and he drank angrily. Hee hee, is that so? Then let's show you a miracle. The girl isho again, and then yanks her fingers back. In an instant, a phantom fluttered around Feijuan, and then thousands of steel wires turned into a network of silk threads, tying Feijuan together. What made Feijuan suck in a breath of air was that the steel wire was actually full of detonating charms. Hey, wait. Feijuan began to panic. Pay for the 3 generations of Hokage-sama. The girl suddenly drank violently with scarlet eyes, and the fierce murderous intent broke out. Then, a fire soaring to the sky rose in place, and the terrifying destructive power was vented towards the surroundings, causing the fighting ninjas from all directions to retreat quickly. No, all the corners save me. Feijuan screamed. Even if he had the body of immortality, he couldn't bear this kind of tossing, and even if he didn't die, he had to peel off his skin. And this girl who released the detonating talisman, who is not Rei Fujino. But she didn't notice that behind her, an enemy was approaching. Woman, I will accept your heart. Haiden's accomplice, the corner with several lives, suddenly appeared behind Fujino Rei. The lightning flashes spread over Fujie Ling's body, and after paralyzing her and unable to move, he stabs her back and wants to dig out her heart. Be careful. Not good. The people of Konoha were startled again, but they couldn't get away, just watching Fujino Ling being pierced through the heart. No. A group of Konoha ninjas shouted in grief. Crash. But they were so excited that the Fujie Ling they saw turned into a pool of water flowing down, and it was water. Water escape, water breaks waves. Not far behind Jiaodu, Rei Fujino reappeared, spewing out an extremely sharp and condensed high-pressure waterline, with the terrifying ability to penetrate everything. Che, what a sly kid. What kind of person is Jiaodu? His strength is much stronger than Feijuan, and he immediately avoided it. And the flying section has been blown into pieces. Before Konoha Ninja did anything to him, he was picked up by the Trap Master corner. It's okay, Sister Shinmei. After Kakato retreated, Fujino Rei came to Anmura Nobuomi in a flash, looked at Anmura Nobuomi, who was covered in blood, and asked worriedly. My face is pale like this, do you think it's okay? The enemy is the 7 ninja swordsmen after all. Anmura Nobuomi smiled bitterly, she is really approaching the end of the game now. Chapter 624 Infinite Crisis. However, Sister Shinmei's harvest is also the biggest. Tisk tisk tisk, the 7 ninja swordsmen, I'm starting to be jealous. Fujino Ling said with a pity face, it's a pity that that guy escaped by luck. There is no way, who will let us not have the advantage now? Otherwise, we can still fight and besiege that corner, and we may not be able to achieve something. Ma Kuro also had a look of pity on his face. But that's enough. 1 death and 1 injury to Admiral in Wuyin village is enough to relieve our Konoha a lot. Nobuomi Anmura took out a porcelain bottle from her chest, poured out a pill of military rations, and swallowed it. These are not ordinary military food pills, but specially made by Shajir-Ching, which have a good and fast recovery effect. As expected of Mr. Shajir-Ching, the shot is a fine product. After swallowing a ration pill, Anmura Nobuomi's face suddenly improved. She immediately formed a seal, and then, she even used the palm immortal technique. Looks like it's right to learn palm immortality from teacher Shajir-Ching. It's just right now. Seeing this scene, Fujino Ling couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Anmura Nobuomi's face has returned to normal now, and her injuries are constantly healing. It won't be long before you join the battle. Yeah, the situation is still quite unfavorable for us. I didn't expect that there are also powerful young generations in the mist. Ma Kuro glanced at the shark-faced youth who was trembling with Hyuga's feet and still had the upper hand, and couldn't help showing a dignified look on his face. Ma Joro, this man named Gon Persimmon Ghost Shark seems to be a bit more powerful than his boss, the Watermelon Mountain Puffer Ghost. Fujino Rei, that woman named Terumi Mei should not be underestimated, that terrifying bloodline limit really makes your scalp tingle. Nobuomi Yasunori, there are still 4 generations of water shadows eyeing, we can't last long. Speaking of this, the 3 of them couldn't help but sigh. Even if the Watermelon Mountain Puffer fish died in battle and the flying section was severely damaged, the Fog Ninja still had an absolute advantage. Although the 10,000-strong army is now only more than 7,000, the Konoha army has dropped sharply from 8,000 to 4,000. The disparity between the strength of the enemy and us will soon reach a ratio of 2, 1. Mr. Shajir-Ching, you have to come quickly. If you don't come, we will all be killed here. Nobumi Yasunori said that. Of course, it makes sense. The 7 ninja swordsmen in Wuin village are not the only one, the watermelon mountain puffer fish. Noba guys, surrender. Do you think you can fight against us by killing a watermelon mountain pufferfish? Let me tell you what despair is. Lay done thunder burial. A man with a violent face raised a long blade and shouted violently. Then, the ground that I saw was suddenly covered with thunder and lightning, and the ninjas from all directions did not have time to escape, so they were directly attacked. Ha ha ha, just because you guys want to fight against me, the Black Holea, it's really courting death. Thunderbolt lightning tornado. He saw that he was covered with thunder and lightning, and then turned into a violent tornado of thunder and lightning, raging away. Wherever he passed, there was a scream, and a large piece of Konoha ninja was blasted out. The rest either escaped, or were swept away by the aftermath, causing heavy damage. This man is the Black Holea, one of the 7 members of the ninja sword. On the other side, a man with a huge long sword was slaughtering mercilessly, and no one could resist. Chapter 625 Crisis is deep. The big knife in his hand is like a killing blade, and it can even absorb blood. A group of Konoha ninjas saw with their own eyes a joinin from the Hinata clan, killed by this man within 50 strokes. Loquat Shazang, behead the owner of the broadsword. Majoro looked at the man with a solemn expression, and unconsciously touched his chest, where there was a shallow scar. 2 days ago, he had fought against this Loquat Shazang, and after fighting 200 moves, he was severely injured by a knife. Loquat Juzo is very powerful, but the guy behind him called Man Demon is not bad. Makura looked at the man whose face was covered with bandages and had no eyebrows. Man Demon never cuts again. A very ferocious beast. And that Ringo Yuri, I heard that although he is not in good health, he is being trained as the heir of Thunder Sword and Tooth. Rei Fujino's eyes turned to another girl who was fighting a difficult battle in the Chunin team. Ringo Yuli is probably the one that makes them the most worry-free, because her strength is the weakest. Weak enough to break through the siege of Chunin. But even so, we don't have the slightest advantage. It has to be the Sunfute Patriarch and the other family patriarchs who are strong enough to keep us up to this point. Rei Fujino turned to look at Hyuga Hazu, Inazuka Hana, Chu Dao Dingza and these people. Then, their eyes swept across Asma Sarutobi, Kurenai Yuhi, Abizi Mori, and Gecko Hayate. Without these people, how could Konoha survive until now? However, if Teacher Shajir-Ching doesn't come, we won't be able to hold it anymore. Yakura, Kaoru, these 2 guys are staring at each other. That flying section seems to be immortal, and our current situation is still quite dangerous. Nobumi Yasunori, who had recovered 7088, got up and said. Alas, it's only a moment if you can stop it. Now I can only trust Teacher Shajir-Ching. The 3 sighed like this and joined the battlefield again. Their joining immediately relieved a lot of pressure. Yasunami Nobuomi vs Dried Persimmon Ghost. Fujino Rei vs Terumi Mei. Ma Kuro vs Loquat Juzo. So, where is Shajir-Ching, who is so missed by them? Nobumi Anmura, you must hold on. Don't die, I will be very sad. Shajir-Ching was covered in thunder and lightning, flashing like a phantom. But even at this speed, it took Shajir-Ching half a day, and he still only walked half the distance. It will take hours to reach the battlefield. Shajir-Ching, who is also at a loss, has a huge amount of chakra and is prepared in advance. 3 shadow clones were also left to refine chakra in Konoha. There is no chakra depletion. Otherwise, even Shajir-Ching's chakra will be exhausted. I didn't expect that the 3 generations of Hokage would die in battle. Feijuan and Jiaodu also appeared there. Sure enough, did the Akatsuki organization also join? No, it should be said that the guy joined. Wuin village suddenly attacked. I think it was that guy's idea. The figure of the masked man appeared in Shajir-Ching's mind again. If he hadn't underestimated me that day, it wouldn't have been so easy to defeat him, but if that's the case, maybe we'd have a good fight that day. Oh, it seems that God does not give face. Shajur-Ching knew very well that the masked man was not weak. How could he be weak with his kaleidoscope writing wheel eye? It is impossible for the weak to control the 4 generations of water shadows. Chapter 626 will definitely come. And my sister, please don't have an accident, otherwise, my mind will explode. Shajur-Ching's eyes, the 3-hook jade writing wheel eyes, turned extremely fast. Only the 3-hook jade writing wheel eye can give him precise direction and visual balance in the high-speed movement. But Konoha's battle situation is still going downhill. After Jiaodu joined the battlefield with the rebuilt flying section, the Konoha army, who was already stretched enough to deal with Kirin, suddenly fell into an irreversible disadvantage. They are dying more and more. 100. 200. 500. 1000. 2000. 2999. Konoha's army, in just 4 hours, only the last 1,500 people are left. Facing the siege of the army of 7,000 fog hidden, Konoha ninjas are desperate. Do we really have any hope of winning? Many people are lost in fear. Looking at the huge army of Wuyin village coming in, they could only shrink in groups and were completely forced into a desperate situation. It has only been 4 hours, and all the high-level combat powers, such as the 3 new stars of Anmura Nobuomi, Asuma Sarutobi, and other family patriarchs, are already out of breath and are all injured. Especially Yasun Nobumi. After killing the watermelon mountain puffer fish, he used illusion and ninjutsu, with the result of losing both sides. He severely damaged the dried persimmon ghost. It can be regarded as the only thing that can boost morale in this bleak battle. Otherwise, Konoha ninja, it is really possible that they will not be able to persist until now. But now, no matter how persistent, there will be no advantage. Of the remaining 1,000 people, who is not scarred and consumed too much? If you want to fight against the wolves and tigers, how can you do it? Even Anmura Nobuomi is now so weak that the Chunin can hit her hard. Konoha's ninjas, at this point, do you still want to continue to resist? Give it up. Do you think your persistence can wait for the rescue? Even your 3 generations of Hokage are broken in our hands. You don't think you can be stronger than the 3 generations of Hokage? The one who spoke was Mizuka Gyakura, the 4th generation. HMPH, there is no precedent for Konoha ninja to surrender, isn't it? Death, what's there to be afraid of? Anyway, someone will avenge us, so what are you afraid of? Hyuga Hazu took a step forward, her face full of uprightness and seriousness, completely unmoved. Ha ha ha, you are talking about the Thunder Ninja Shajur-Ching, but so what? Yagura Ferocious Isho, it would take more than 3 days for a normal ninja to get here from Konoha village. It will take more than 2 days for an elite ninja. Even if Shajur-Ching is alive, it is impossible for him to arrive in 1 day. But how long can you last? 10 minutes? Half an hour? Ha ha ha, it only takes a few minutes for us to solve you. At that time, when Shajur-Ching arrives, we have ended the battle and returned to Wuyin village. If he dares to come, we will make him come and go. These words were extremely confident, and the hearts of all the Konoha ninjas sank again. They know very well that Yakura is not lying. HMPH, Teacher Shajur-Ching's strength is something that you, a frog at the bottom of a well, can measure. We always believe that Teacher Shajur-Ching will definitely save us from the crisis, just like the retreat of Union Village's attack back then. But it was Fujie Ling who spoke up. Chapter 627 Last Minute. That's right. How can you understand the power of Shajur-Ching? Teacher Shajur-Ching will definitely come. Majoro also shouted, extremely firm. That's right, it will definitely come. Several voices echoed. But they were all Shajur-Ching's students. Immediately, the entire Konoha army was agitated and shouted in unison, yes, it will definitely come. Incredibly firm. HMPH, stubborn, kill me. Let's smash their unrealistic fantasies. Yagura snorted coldly and gave the order to attack. The Kurigakushi ninjas couldn't wait for a long time, and immediately rushed to the Konoha ninja like hungry wolves. Puff puff. When the time came, people turned their backs and screamed constantly. However, they were all ninjas from Konoha village, and a tragic mood instantly filled the entire battlefield. In a blink of an eye, the number of Konoha ninjas, who were already weak, dropped sharply to 500. Nobumi Anmura, Rei Fujino, the main ninjas, have received special care. The wounds on the body are so numerous that the scalp is numb. Anmura Nobume only felt that her vision was starting to blur. The body is extremely heavy. Every movement is extremely painful, and there is a thick, heavy hissing sound like pulling a bellows between the throats, and it has reached the end of the shot. All resistance is almost the body's voluntary response. Nobumi Yasunori, Rei Fujino, and Ma Kuro are not much better. Just as tragic, there is almost no power to fight back. Another minute has passed. There are 200 people left. Did the sky kill me, Konoha? Hyuga Hazu was panting in grief and despair, thinking like this. Nobuomi Anmura was in trouble, and he wanted to save him, but the enemy in front of him would not allow them to do so. Is this the end for me? When she was really on the verge of death, Anmura Nobume felt that she was no longer as panicked as before. Some are just peace and quiet. This time, I want Konoha to bleed heavily. Let them also taste our heavy losses back then. Yakura shouted violently, and gave the order to kill with a ghastly face. Yes. Almost all of the ninjas from Korean village were killed. Just kidding, how can someone from the land of blood fog be kind? Everyone is a ruthless master. The more you kill, the higher your status. Are you going to die? I'm really unwilling. Ma Kuro could feel the fierce breath coming from all directions, and showed a sad smile. If I knew this earlier, I should have said goodbye to teacher Shajirching. Fujie Ling thought with great regret. The sky is full of kunai, and the shuriken has enveloped them. On the other side, there is a large piece of mist ninja holding a sharp blade, stabbed forward fiercely. Konoha ninja, your life is over. Yagura shouted fiercely. Really, how do I think your luck is over? At this time, an extremely cold voice suddenly came. Then, a violent and fierce wind blew, and all the kunai and shuriken were blown away. Hundreds of mist ninjas were even blown away. All of them were splashed with blood, and they were hit hard in an instant. Wherever the wind and waves traveled, the forest was all torn down, the earth was torn apart and turned into a rubble. Who is it? This sudden change shocked everyone in Korean village, and Yakura couldn't help but drink violently in the direction of the wind and waves. Chapter 628. Try it to find out. Don't you think I can't get there? I'm here now, and you still ask me who I am. Yakura and the others saw a slightly slender figure with a long sword in hand, walking in like a walk in a garden. He clearly did not release any power, but the air was distorted around him, and everyone even felt that the scene in all directions was blurred. The originally noisy battlefield suddenly quieted down. There is a heavy oppression falling on everyone, and there is an uncontrollable feeling of panic, which emerges from the heart. Cold sweat suddenly wet the clothes of the mist ninjas. He is obviously a person, but it makes the mist ninjas have the illusion that they are irresistible. When the man was less than 100 meters away from them, they took a few steps back together. Kinoha village, Shajirching, everyone, Mist, how are you? This man is naturally Shajirching. Gollum. Seeing Shajirching appearing in front of them, all the mist could not help but swallow. The shadow of the famous tree of people. In the face of Shajirching, who retreated Yunren's army of 10,000 with the power of one person and suppressed the Nine Tails. They only felt that their bodies were shaking uncontrollably. Shajirching, you are here so soon. Yakura also looked at Shajirching very solemnly. Then, he immediately reacted, HMPH, so what? You must be exhausted by now. He believed that even Shajur-Ching would be exhausted by running such a long distance, and the chakra consumption was too great. You'll find out if you try it, Yakura. Shajur-Ching looked at Yakura and showed an extremely playful smile. Confidence and calm. All the ninjas in Konoha couldn't help but feel a deep sense of peace of mind. Good job, Shinmi, Ling, Ma Kuro. Natsumi Young looked sideways at the three wounded Anmura Nobuomi, and praised them. Of course, we are the apprentices of the Thunder Ninja, how can we not have a good record? Fujino Ray said with a painful grin. Restore chakra, heal your wounds, and leave the rest to me. Shajur-Ching said to Anmura Nobume and the other three. The three of them immediately sat cross-legged on the ground, knocked down a military ration pill, and then closed their eyes and recovered. Shajur-Ching, don't be too self-righteous. At this time, a black shadow swishes before Shajur-Ching. It's Yakura. He stabbed out, the air was wrinkled, and the sharpness was amazing. Be careful. Seeing this scene, everyone couldn't help but reminded in horror. But it was too late. The knife has been infinitely approaching Sha Muyang's face. Die. Yakura's eyes are full of tyrannical expressions, insanely insane. Death, where did your faith come from? Shajur-Ching's indifferent voice sounded. Everyone saw that he clenched his palms into fists, and his fists suddenly turned black, as if he had touched the air, and smashed on the long knife that was in front of him. Bang! Like steel colliding, a harsh roar erupted, and then... crack! As soon as he heard the sound of shattering, the long sword in Yakura's hand shattered into pieces. And Shajur-Ching took a step forward, and that fist, with the power to destroy even the world, slammed into the horrified Yakura's abdomen. Cuckoo! Yakura's eyes were about to protrude, and his face was twisted together in pain. Then, with a bang, it crashed into the Mist Ninja army, and a large piece of Mist Ninja flew all the way, screaming incessantly. Chapter 629 overwhelmed the audience. Lay done flying thunder sword. But just when everyone thought it was over, Shajur-Ching's voice once again attracted their attention. I saw Shajur-Ching surrounded by terrifying thunder and lightning, and then turned into an extremely sharp long sword, which was kicked out by Shajur-Ching. Boom! This sword, like a roaring light cannon, was blown away from the ground, and wherever it passed, flesh and blood flew, and the body splattered. No one could resist this blow at all, and a large piece of flesh and blood was blown away right next to it. If you are hit directly, a big hole will explode in your body, and your life will be lost in an instant. With this single blow, more than 50 Mist Ninjas were killed, 120 seriously injured, and 50 slightly injured. Bang! As if there was an earthquake, the terrifying tremor shook the earth open, shaking up a fog. Ah! Another scream came, and everyone couldn't help but look, but saw the fourth generation of Water Shadows with a sword in the chest, rolled up with flesh and blood, and was nailed to the ground. A terrifying thunder and lightning lingered on him, and he almost lost his combat effectiveness in an instant. Hi! Everyone couldn't help but stare at Shajur-Ching in horror, and their eyes were full of fear. Too strong. That was the fourth generation of Mizukage Yakura. As soon as the battle started, he was hit so hard that he was about to lose his combat effectiveness. This monster, can we really win? Even the 4 generations of Mizuying-sama. In an instant, they had the intention of retreating in their hearts. Looking at the bloody corpse of their companion lying on the ground, they were afraid that the next one would be themselves. And the people on Konoha's side couldn't help but burst into mad shouts. Is this the strength of Teacher Shajur-Ching? It's the first time I've seen Teacher Shajur-Ching take action. Anmura Nobuomi and the others also opened their eyes and said in amazement. Mist Ninjas, are you ready? Shajur-Ching stroked Lu Huo's sword with his left hand, and a flame called, killing, burned in his eyes. Jia Jia Jia, Wu Ren is afraid of you, but I am not afraid of you. Thunder Ninja, obediently hand over your heart to Jiaodu. At this time, Feijuan's insidious voice came from Shajur-Ching's side. Then, his sickle flew over. Be careful, Teacher Shajur-Ching, don't let him take blood. Nabume Anmura quickly reminded. Understood. Shajur-Ching naturally knows Feijuan's ability. Bang! Hold the knife to block the scythe of the flying section. But before he could make the next move, his companion horns had already deceived him like a phantom, punching him hard. Count me in two. On the right of Shajur-Ching, the owner of the big sword beheaded, and the Loquat Shizang also rushed over to block Shajur-Ching's retreat. How can I be absent from such a scene? The Black Holea held the twin blades shining with lightning and rushed behind Shajur-Ching. In an instant, Shajur-Ching was surrounded by enemies on all sides. No. Seeing this scene, Anmura Nobumi couldn't help but be horrified. Jia, I'll see how you deal with it this dangerous situation. Feijuan's dark voice came again. Thunder escaped Chidori Flow. No one saw Shajur-Ching's seal at all. As soon as he saw him, he waved his hand, and a manic thunderbolt appeared from his body, which spread to everyone. Jia, I am the holder of the thunder saber and teeth. Do you think that thunder and lightning will have any effect on me, you idiot? Shajur-Ching's lightning was directly absorbed by the long knife in the hands of the Black Holea. Chapter 630 Astonished. But PFF'd. A thunder gun pierced his body like light. There was no chance for him to react at all. Ah! When the Black Holea screamed, the screams of the other three people were also heard at the same time. All they saw was thunder and lightning all over their bodies, screaming and flying upside down. Thousands of sharp guns, multiple bursts. Shajur-Ching held both hands. Like a conjuration, the three thunder guns were as fast as lightning, and they pierced their chests without giving Jiaodu, Feijuan, and Loquat Shizang a chance to react. Ah! It was screaming again, and all they saw was the smell of burnt stench all over their bodies, and their bodies twitched. The Loquat Shizang turned into wood with a bang, and then appeared in the Mist Ninja army with a serious injury. The Black Holea's eyes widened, and his breath slowly disappeared. Feijuan screamed in pain, and there was a crackling sound from behind Jiaodu, but he didn't die. In one round, one person died and three were seriously injured. Gollum. Everyone saw the horror in each other's eyes. This kind of strength that hits the enemy hard like playing is a bit too scary. Is this the strength of one person retreating 10,000 yunren? Really strong. Konoha Ninja was extremely shocked in his heart. Watching Shajur-Ching fight is simply a pleasure. The kind of smooth, relaxed and freehand feeling, let people linger. Since you're not dead, it's better to be dead. With a flash of Shajur-Ching, he appeared in front of Feijuan, the cold light flashed, Feijuan's head fell to the ground, and his body was dismembered. Then, he grinned at Jiaodu, and Jiaodu couldn't help but stunned, his pupils shrunk into needle-like shapes, too done to spear. Just as he was about to use the earth spear technique to strengthen his defense, he felt the pain of being pierced through his body from behind. Wow! There was a black line coming out of Jiaodu's mouth, and he saw that his chest was pierced by a sword and a hand. With that one heart just now, you've already lost 3 hearts and 2 lives left. Shajur-Ching's voice resounded in Jiaodu's ears like a magic voice, but it made him feel terribly cold. Shajur-Ching actually knew the secret of his local resentment. Doesn't that mean he probably knew how to kill himself? Thinking of this, the corners panic. He immediately invoked the fire attribute that had not been destroyed, and the thunder attribute heart attacked Shajur-Ching together to force him back. But Shajur-Ching had long since disappeared behind him. Where? Jiaodu, who has never panicked, felt a deep sense of fear at this moment. Here. Shajur-Ching's voice sounded in front of Jiaodu. Jiaodu panicked, and before he had time to react, he saw a cold light flashing in front of his eyes, and then, a familiar feeling of pain came. Fire attribute heart, broken. No. Jiaodu shouted in horror, and then, a avatar escaped without a trace. At the same time, at the location of Feijuan, a pitcher plant man quickly swallowed it. Roar. At this time, another roar came from behind the Mist Ninja army. Immediately, a super-hot light cannon that exuded manic chaos flew away. Wherever it passed, the ground was sunken and pushed out into a deep tunnel. It's a virtual dog cannon. Get out of the way. Konoha Ninja can't help but drank his scalp numb. But in the next scene, Konoha Ninja was stunned. The Fog Ninjas were also stunned, and their mouths widened in shock. Chapter 631 Powerful to Despair. What did they see? Shajirching actually split the virtual dog cannon with a single sword. Gollum. Everyone was terrified by the scene in front of them. That is a virtual dog cannon, a super attack that can make ninjas desperate. How can it be such a weak chicken in the hands of Shajirching? Roar. A phantom bullied Shajirching in an instant, smashed the air with a punch, and rushed straight to Sha Muyang's face, smashing his head into meat sauce. Rokushiki, 6 styles 6 king guns. But Shajirching actually hit it hard again, wrapping armament hockey with his fist, and it smashed the air, wrapped in the sound of wind and thunder, and collided with the phantom that came, the three-tailed man column Ryakura in a rampant state. Roar. I heard a scream from Yakura, and the ground burst into a 100-meter crater, blasting all the ninjas around. Then, Yakura also flew out like a cannonball again, and the air exploded continuously. Bang! The ground under Shajirching's feet once again burst into a 50-meter broken pit, and the gravel splashed through the air. The crowd was shocked again. It takes a lot of strength to repel the three-tailed person Zuri head-on. Countless in the world. Only the 3 generations of Reikage who passed away from Yunrin village can do it. But now, one more person has been added. Shajirching. Up. Terumi Mei and others all looked at each other, and then they all rushed towards Shajirching. If they don't attack, they may have no chance to attack. No one would have thought that in just 1 minute, Jiaodu, Feijuan escaped, Loquat Shizang was seriously injured, and Black Ho Leia died. Want to have sex together? Come on. Seeing this, Shajirching grinned Isho, and without dodging, went head-to-head with Terumi Mei and the others. The art of melting and dissolving monsters. Terumi Mei took out his own killer blood, the limit. He sprayed out a yellow-brown wave with a powerful corrosive power, to completely block Shajirching's way. Shajirching stepped back immediately, he didn't want to face this corrosive current. But behind him, the dried persimmon ghost shark actually grabbed the shark muscle and waved it over, making Shajirching's body tense. Have you conquered the shark muscle so quickly? You are indeed the strongest user of the shark muscle. Shajirching blocked the knife cut by the ghost shark, and then lifted his foot and a Renkyaku tempest kick smashed him out. Water escape rain 4 sharks. The instant the dried persimmon ghost shark was split and flew out, he actually released his attack and came towards Shajirching. The 4 water sharks charged towards Shajirching with rolling momentum. Thunder Blade Technique Thunder Fang. Before Shajirching could deal with this water shark, another attack came from behind him. It turned out to be Ringo Yuli, who attacked him with the thunder blade and teeth in his hand, and thunder and lightning roared. Thunder Escape Chidori Flow. Thunder and lightning attacks are the least feared by Sha Muyang. A thunder and lightning burst out from behind him, blocking all of Ringo Yuli's attacks, and countering them with an absolute advantage. Ah! Ringo Yuli may not have imagined that Shajirching's lay-done attainments would be so powerful that he was instantly hit hard by lightning. When the shark was about to attack him, he disappeared in a swish. Damn! Terumi Mei couldn't help biting her lips when she saw this scene. Shajirching is too powerful. Powerful enough to make people despair, even if they are not serious at all, they are still despairing. Chapter 632 What about the strength of the human column? Yo, Terumi Mei, what are you thinking? It's not a good thing to be distracted on the battlefield. In Terumi Mei's ear, Shajirching's playful voice suddenly came. Terumi Mei couldn't help shivering, but she saw that Shajirching had actually arrived in front of her. Her eyes were extremely deep, and there was a powerful force acting on her mind, making her feel like she couldn't move suddenly. Illusion, gold binding, Shajirching said in a low voice. Terumi Mei couldn't help shrinking her pupils. Looking at Shajir-Ching's young face, she felt infinite despair in her heart. Roar! The fourth generation of Mizukaji Yakura suddenly reappeared behind Shajir-Ching, and punched out with a punch. With unimaginable power, the air exploded. Bang! No one saw how Shajir-Ching made his move, and the blow of Yakura was safely caught by Shajir-Ching. The aftermath of the terrifying power smashed Terumi Mei behind Shajir-Ching into the air. It's time to do it too, Yakura. Shajir-Ching actually made a seal with one hand, which made the onlookers horrified. Absolutely can't let him succeed. Terumi Mei shouted and reminded. Water escape water shark bullets. Dried persimmon ghost shark Jayan created a giant shark and rammed towards Shajir-Ching, trying to stop Shajir-Ching. Water escape water dragon ball technique. The mist ninjas who have been watching who can't get in on the action have also quickly formed seals and attacked Shajir-Ching. Lay done furious thunder tiger. Shajir-Ching said in a low voice, and a gigantic tiger rushed out from behind him. It was 50 meters high and 100 meters long. It roared and roared the audience. Thunder and lightning were raging. It was like the arrival of the gods, and even the sky turned black, making people desperate. Roar! The thunder tiger rushed out, and the water shark disintegrated after 2 seconds of confrontation, and a piece of water dragon bullet only blocked the attack path of the thunder tiger. Wow! Damn! Only when you really face Shajir-Ching will you know how terrifying he is. The terrifying oppression brought by this thunder and lightning tiger alone has made the mist ninjas desperate. This heavy sense of oppression made them feel like they were about to breathe. Fortunately, in the end, they still blocked this thunder and lightning tiger. Bang! 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 Eating a cut grows a wisdom, and Yagura has learned to behave, and will not give Shajir-Ching a chance to attack. Directly engaged in a high-speed and fierce battle with Shajir-Ching, with a powerful fist, constantly hitting Shajir-Ching's long sword, making a sour sound. But Yakura must have miscalculated. In terms of high-speed combat, Shajir-Ching has never been afraid of anyone so far. Rankyaku Tempest Kick. Shigen Finger Pistol. Chidori Spear. Chidori. Everyone looked at Shajir-Ching, who seemed to be able to use his entire body as a weapon. In a high-speed battle, with the resources of Thor, he crushed Yakura, the three-tailed man, with an absolute advantage. S2, _. A group of mist ninjas wanted to say that they were too enchanting, but in the end, they still couldn't say that sentence. Roar! 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 In addition to roaring, Yakura can only roar. How could he have imagined that Shajir-Ching would be so powerful that hitting him would be effortless and easy? Get out of the way, let me limit him. At this time, Terumi Mei's voice came again. When she saw that she quickly formed the seal, and was about to release the ninjutsu, a thunder light had already pierced the air one step ahead. Chapter 633 Thunder Hell. Hi! Terumi Mei's whole body was blown up, and at this moment, she couldn't help but feel a sense of horror. Shajir-Ching is waiting for her to take action. To kill her with one blow. And this blow, she was too late to dodge it. Just as she was about to be penetrated by the thunder gun, a figure waved a huge black shadow in front of her. Bang! The thunderbolt was blocked, and the man was shaken back in front of Terumi Mei, but he stood still, never reaching Terumi Mei. Now! The man shouted in a low voice, and Terumi Mei immediately reacted, and finished the seal in one go, boiled escape skillful mist art. Seeing this scene, the crowd quickly backed away. And the person who blocked the Qiandiao sharp spear just now was none other than a ghost shark. He grabbed the severely injured Ringo Yuri and stepped back. What a pity, I almost killed you. Terumi Mei. Shajir-Ching, who was fighting fiercely with Yakura, said so regretfully. But before Terumi Mei could speak, Shajir-Ching suddenly laughed. However, it doesn't matter. Anyway, it's over, and I'm almost done with it. Shajir-Ching suddenly burst out with incomparably violent thunder and lightning, and instantly wrapped around Yakura's body, making him paralyzed for such an instant. And Terumi Mei's skillful fog technique had already begun to corrode Shajar Ching's lightning armor, but he was not panicked. Then, everyone, please ask for yourself. Shajar Ching suddenly grinned and showed a big smile to the mist ninjas. Terumi Mei couldn't help but be a little confused, and looked up. Then, I couldn't help but take a deep breath again. Rumble. In the sky I saw, dark clouds gathered, thunder and lightning rolled, exuding the breath of world destruction, covering a radius of several kilometers, completely shrouding their Wuyin village army inside. Not good. Run away. Seeing this scene, Terumi Mei couldn't help reminding her in horror. Her voice was hoarse, and her face was full of fear. It's too late, Terumi Mei. Shajar Ching showed a devilish smile, and then, a thunderstorm slammed into Yakura's body. Roar. Yakura had just broken free from his paralysis, and had not had time to show his power. It just felt that a force of billions and billions of powers acted on him, making him feel like he was about to be crushed. Instantly lost the power of resistance. Boom boom boom. The thunder continued to fall, and there was a wailing in the fog. There were screams everywhere, and the charred corpses were flying all over the sky. The earth is broken, the heaven and the earth are sinking, this is a desperate hell on earth. The dense thunder and lightning, like the wrath of the gods, completely defeated the mist ninjas. Shajar Ching, this is a completely impossible opponent. It was a godlike existence, how could they have defeated it? Asshole. Terumi Mei is roaring, her heart is bleeding. Even she can't fight against this dense thunder and lightning, completely impossible. Originally, if Ringo Yuli hadn't fainted, there might be a way to deal with it. But now, there is only despair left. Terumi Mei, she has the heart to save those mist ninjas. However, she was helpless. She didn't know how to resist this violent lightning. Chapter 634 Resolve the War. This thunder and lightning, like the wrath of the gods, is too strong, so powerful that people can't breathe. The people of Konoha were also stunned. Although I have already seen the power of this move. However, when I see it again, I am still shocked. With a single blow, Mist Ninja was defeated. What a terrifying existence this is. Just when the Fog Ninjas still had 2,000 or 3,000 remnants left, Shajar Ching actually stopped the thunder and lightning. How are you, Mist Ninjas, do you want to continue fighting? Looking at the terrified Mist Ninjas, Shajar Ching asked with a grin. The Mist Ninjas immediately shook their heads as if they had been granted amnesty. Just kidding, it's not an opponent at all, how to fight? Ha ha ha, since you don't fight, why don't you retreat? When Shajar Ching said that he turned his face, staring at the frosty eyes and asked. The group of Fog Ninjas that I saw were directly frightened and fought a cold war together, and then they looked at the top commander at the moment, Terumi Mei. The eyes are full of desire. Withdraw. Terumi Mei clenched her teeth tightly, unwilling, and looked at Shajar Ching in fear for a long time before she said sullenly. Oh. There was a burst of cheers from among the Mist Ninjas. Then, under the gaze of a group of Konoha ninjas, they quickly withdrew their troops and left. It's like I don't want to stay here for half a second. Before leaving, Terumi Mei gave Shajar Ching a deep look, leaving an extremely angry and resentful look in her eyes. This made Shajar Ching a little confused. This wins. The Konoha ninjas couldn't react for a while. When he reacted, there was a sudden burst of shocking cheers and weeping with joy. They all looked at Shajar Ching with incomparable admiration. It's this man. With the power of one person, he defeated the Mist Ninja and created a myth again. Okay, prepare for the follow-up of the war, be on alert for 2 days, and you can prepare to return. Shajar Ching turned around, rubbed his temples tiredly, and said. The rest is up to you, Sunfoot Patriarch, you know, I'm not good at this kind of aftermath. Shajar Ching looked at Rixiang Rizu and said. Okay, leave it to me, there's absolutely no problem. Hyuga Hazu patted her chest with a bang. Shajar Ching nodded, then found a place to sit down, leaned down and closed his eyes to rest. Continuing on the road, coupled with the high-intensity battle just now, he is an Iron Man, and he will be exhausted. Everyone didn't bother Shajur-Ching, they were doing their own thing. Konoha Village. Has the army of Wuin Village retreated? That's good. After hearing the news from Yamanaka Kaiichi, Minato Namikaze breathed a sigh of relief. Just like him, there is also Xiaochun who goes to bed. The army of Union Village aspect is about to end. God bless me Konoha, I finally got through this catastrophe. Namikaze Minato said happily. Yeah, turning to bed Xiaochun nodded, and then she couldn't help but look sad, and said, I don't want to talk about the death of the sun. Why are Menyon and the others, alas why are they involved in this kind of thing? And LT, P and GT. Turning to bed, Xiaochun sighed very weakly and sadly. I didn't want to believe it at first, but, there is no way, the evidence is conclusive, there is sufficient evidence that Konoha was invaded, and the two things that instigated the rebellion of the Uchiha clan have something to do with him. Namikaze Minato also sighed and said with great disappointment. Chapter 635 Heroic Triumph. In Konoha Prison. Danzo, you bastard, you betrayed me. Mitomen Yan's roaring drink, like a wounded tiger, chooses and devours people. Why would he say that? A day ago, Minato Nika's investigated the fact that Konoha was invaded by the Six Paths of Pen, and the Uchiha clan revolted, but unexpectedly received an anonymous letter, which contained information that Mito Menyon colluded with foreign enemies and instigated the Uchiha clan rebellion. Namikaze Minato urgently summoned Anbu to arrest Mitomen. Then, in the face of conclusive evidence, Kaharu, who came to bed after hearing the news, couldn't help but favor Mito Menyon. I can only watch him get arrested and brought to justice. It's strange that Mito Menyon was caught very calmly, and there was no resistance at all. This was a big surprise to Namaifung Minato. After all, this kind of thing is too weird. He doesn't believe that Mito Menyon will obediently accept his fate. Danzo, on the other hand, watched from the beginning to the end, although Minato Namikaze felt that this matter must have something to do with him. But there is no evidence. Namikaze Minato also has no way to take Danzo. Now it's time to discuss the part of the right to discuss the vacancy of Menyon. How should it be distributed? Turning to bed, Xiaochun looked at Minato Namikaze and said, is Hokage-sama taking over, or is the old man taking care of it and having Jiraiya come back to take over? She never mentioned Danzang from the beginning to the end. Obviously, she also knew that Danzang was unreliable. Nika's Minato was a little surprised when he turned to bed. Xiaochun seemed to see Nika's Minato's surprise, and smiled. Before, I was against you everywhere, fighting for power and profit, not against you, nor for what I wanted. I just think you are not mature enough to take charge of Konoha and let Konoha develop normally. Quote. Now it seems that it is old and demonic, and it is time to take a back seat and do what a consultant should do. Her Isho, I can finally give you the burden of the second generation Hokage-sama, Hokage. Although I don't know how true it is that Xiaochun's words are real, but Xiaochun's willingness to cooperate, that's the best. Turning to bed, Xiaochun seemed to know that Minato would not just trust her, so he shook his head helplessly. Then, she said, the matter of Menyon is very strange. If Lord Hokage is interested, please check it out. After all, Menyon is also awe. After turning to bed, Xiaochun didn't finish her words, but Minato Namikaze understood what she meant and said, I know, this matter is indeed very strange, and this matter may not have anything to do with Danzo consultant. Namikaze Minato squinted his eyes and said, it's not possible to do such a thing just by relying on consultant Menyon alone, there must be someone helping him. As for who this person is, Namikaze Minato's biggest suspect is naturally Danzo. But Shajur-Ching is also a suspect of Minato Namaifung. Although he ranks last, there is Xiaochun who is sleeping in front of him before that. But this kind of thing, of course, will not be said. 3 days later, Shajur-Ching returned to Konoha with more than 100 Konoha ninjas. Seeing these people returning to Konoha, Minato Namikaze couldn't help but be moved. Seeing these people, you can imagine how tragic the battle with the Mist Ninja Army was. Good work. Namikaze Minato looked at Shajirching and said with emotion. I brought you back, Hokage-sama, I'll leave the rest to you. Shajirching yawned and looked sluggish. Chapter 636 Ninja World Famous. Okay, leave it to me, you go to sleep. Namikaze Minato laughed when he heard the words, and took over these Konoha ninjas. The war in Wuin Village is over. Next, we will have the energy to deal with Union Village and Yenian Village. Namikaze Minato thought like this, when Shajirching came back, someone would deter Tuanzang from letting him mess up. It's over so soon, as expected of Shajirching, it's beyond the old man's expectations. Danzo narrowed his eyes, his face dignified. But fortunately, the old man has wiped his butt clean. Danzang breathed a sigh of relief again. What about Shajirching? There is no way to take him without evidence. A week later, Shajirching set off to support Cheyenne Village. In just one day, the news of the retreat of Yenian Village came. Suddenly, Konoha Village and even the Kingdom of Fire were excited. Another week later, the army of Union Village was defeated. In this regard, the three-way army attacked Konoha, and finally ended with a complete victory in Konoha Village. After this war, Shajirching's name resounded throughout the ninja world again. With absolute strength, let the Wuin Village army fall into despair, defeat Wuin Village by one person, and win the Wuin Village battle. Then, in the Battle of Yenian Village again, he defeated the three generations of Tsuchikage and Onogi in one move. Laid the foundation for Sand Hidden Village to defeat Yan Hidden Village. In the end, he even frightened Union Village's helper, Orochimaru, the Scorpion of Red Sand, also from Akatsuki's organization, with the name of Peerless Fierceness. Lay the foundation for Jiraiya to overwhelm the army of Union Village and win the victory. The name of the first person in the ninja world is well deserved. Konoha May, 54. A month has passed since the battle that shocked the ninja world. Konoha has completed the post-war recovery work, and it is a happy scene. On this day, the sun is shining, but Konoha Ninja can't feel any warmth. Instead, it just feels cold. Because on this day, a memorial service for the three generations of Hokage and the dead ninja was held. Over the whole Konoha, there is a breath of back pain lingering, suppressing silence. The memorial service of the three generations of Hokage is naturally a crowd. Countless ninjas were sobbing in low voices. The three generations of Hokage are highly respected in Konoha Village, and his sacrifice is really a bolt from the blue for Konoha. If it hadn't been for Namikaze Minato and Shajirching who had withstood the pressure and successfully repelled the enemy, they really wouldn't know what to do. But no matter what, the three generations of Hokage will not come back. Konoha is also broken. There are huge losses caused by the invasion of foreign enemies outside, and there is a lack of combat power caused by the rebellion of the Uchiha clan. Konoha, the most dangerous moment has come. Konoha, now it's just an empty shelf staring at the title of the #1 ninja village. It is necessary to develop, supplement and enrich the combat power quickly. Otherwise, Konoha will really decline. Therefore, after the memorial service is over, the next thing to do is to fill in the vacuum of power after the death of the three generations of Hokage, and the place where Mito Gateyan stayed. There needs to be someone to take it on. In the end, according to the agreed results, the full power of Mito Gateyan was taken over by Namaifung Minato. The location of the third Hokage is added by Jiraiya. Mainly because Jiraiya doesn't trust Shajirching very much. The purpose of his stay is to help Minato Namito to suppress Shajirching and prevent Shajirching, whose reputation has reached a new height at this moment, from being highly successful. So as not to weaken the authority of Hokage. In this regard, Shajirching is very helpless, and can't help but feel a little dissatisfied. Chapter 637 Post-War Compensation. He really worked hard for Konoha, but Konoha executives still suspected him. Really ignorant of good people, Konoha, he has no interest in meddling. If he wanted to get his hands on it, Konoha would have already fallen into his hands. These people are really not satisfied with learning. I want him to do my best, but I don't want to trust him. How can there be such a good thing? Do you really think he is Konoha's sharp blade? He can hit wherever he wants. If I had known this, it would have been better for you to fend for yourself. Why should I make fun of myself? Shajirching naturally publicly expressed his dissatisfaction, and then left after leaving threats. Believe it if you love it, forget it if you don't. He Shajirching is not Konoha's wage earner. No one's subordinate. Come when you are called, and leave when you are called, not for Shajirching. Perhaps realizing his inappropriate behavior, he came to visit and apologized in person. The attitude of Namaifeng Minato and other high-level officials towards him has also improved a lot, and the behavior of suspicion and exclusion has also decreased a lot. Shajirching also borrowed a donkey to go downhill, and nothing happened. But Shajirching is very clear that this is just that they still need themselves now. Once you don't need it, you won't be so polite. Shajirching is too lazy to care about them. If he really wants to do it, he is not afraid of anyone. The whole Konoha added up, it may not be able to stop him. Besides, he doesn't have no back moves. Shao Organization. We must pay more attention to the Thunder Ninja. This guy is our #1 enemy. We must have enough information about him. Tiandao Pain said to the members. Both Feijuan and Feijuan agreed to understand Shajirching's terrifying Jiaodu. Orochimaru and the Scorpion of the Red Sand are also very dignified. After all, they have never seen their self-proclaimed god boss who is so jealous of a person. And the 3 ninja villages that were defeated, it is really a dark cloud at this moment. No one would have thought that their carefully prepared army had an absolute advantage, but in the end, they lost. Thunder Ninja. They couldn't help roaring in their hearts. If it wasn't for this person, how could they have lost? But no matter how angry they were, the post-war negotiation finally came. After detailed talks with daimyo from various countries, Union Village, Yenian Village, and Korean Village sent messengers to negotiate compensation with the Fire Nation. Among them, the most stressed is Union Village. Their daimyo originally did not agree with sending troops, but under the persuasion of various forces, they reluctantly agreed to send troops to attack Konoha Village, the country of fire. He once said, "If you lose, it has nothing to do with me, don't ask me to wipe your ass." But Union Village was really defeated. Can his name stay out of the way? Of course not. Otherwise, who will protect his safety? But when he thought of bleeding profusely, the big name of Leijiguo bleeds in his heart. This time, it is impossible to satisfy Konoha Village with something 3 or 2. Also worried are Wuyin Village and Yenian Village. Especially Yenian Village, who often deals with Konoha Village, is too aware of Konoha's temperament, and when he gets the chance, he will speak loudly. When I think that they still have Shajirching now, it makes me even more headache. But all of this has nothing to do with the victorious Konoha, Cheyenne Village. The place to negotiate is chosen at the respective borders. 3 places, Konoha Village sent 3 representatives. Chapter 638 The Art of Negotiation. As for Union Village, Jiraiya. Regarding Wuyin Village, Shajirching. In terms of Yenian Village, Hyuga Hezu. The first to arrive was Shajirching. According to the regulations, Shajirching has the right to bring 2 guards. And the 2 guards he brought were Nagumi Anmura and Rei Fujino. As for Majoro, if Shajirching didn't take him, it doesn't mean he has no mission. Shajirching instructed him and some junior brothers in Anbu to pay attention to Danzo's actions. The task is not too difficult, but it also requires a lot of effort. A certain port in the south of the Land of Fire. Here, we welcome the delegation from Wuyin Village, the Land of Water. Shajirching looked at the representative of Wuyin Village with joy, Terumi Mei, and said, representative of Wuyin village, hello. As soon as Terumi-Mei saw Xia, she couldn't help but feel the horror and fear in her heart, but then came a strong sense of grievance. It was this man who made their Wuyin village the loser. And when he saw his 2 guards, he couldn't help clenching his teeth. One is one of the 3 stars that has now become completely famous, Silver Butterfly, Yasunami Nobuomi. The other one is also one of the 3 stars in the ninja world, Fujino Ray. 3-star, this is the title of the ninja world for Anmura Nobumi and the others, which is consistent with the meaning of Sanin. Konoha is so powerful. Terumi-Mei is so powerful that she doesn't know when she will be able to find her way back. In a certain convention hall, there are only 2 groups of people here today. The delegation of Konoha village, the land of fire. The delegation of the hidden village of mist in the land of water. Here, Xia, who was rich and powerful, was directly wrapped up. The Fire Nation troops are on guard outside. Then, if there are no problems, let's start, Hermitage of Hidden Mist. I don't know if it was Terumi-Mei's illusion, but she always felt that Xia had a strong playful look on her face. Hey, let's get started. Terumi-Mei snorted coldly, her face quite ugly. Immediately, the 2 discussed the matter of compensation. The compensation plan has been discussed by both parties in advance. But how to get the other party to accept their own conditions is up to the individual. And Xia choose to come directly. With absolute power, let Terumi-Mei not accept it, but also accept it. Moreover, he also asked Terumi-Mei to talk about the conditions first, so that Terumi-Mei could not grasp her own details at all. From the very beginning of the negotiation, it was a wrangling meeting. The 2 sides are constantly fighting with each other, constantly fighting for their own interests. But, before defeating the side, Wuyin village finally lost a lot of confidence. Therefore, arguing that it is just a good thing to say. There are not many interests that really win for Wuyin village. On the contrary, he has been passively accepting many unreasonable demands of Konoha village. For example, opening the ports of the country of water, letting the country of fire establish a trade zone, and the country of fire will manage it by itself. This matter is completely unacceptable to the country of water, which has always been closed to the country. However, in the end they can only recognize it. There are many more unreasonable requests like this. For example, in the management of the Tongsheng port area, Wuyin village has management rights, but no decision-making power. In other words, they can arrest people, stop riots, etc., but they can't deal with these people. This is simply rubbing the sovereignty of the country of water on the ground, but they have to agree. Because Xia never said a word of nonsense, Terumi-Mei also couldn't figure out the details of Xia. So, I really don't know where Xia's bottom line is. Chapter 639 Weak countries have no diplomacy. Moreover, the further the request is, the more excessive it is. In order to avoid greater losses, Terumi-Mei can only agree to those unreasonable requests in the front. Of course, she could only refuse what was completely unacceptable. I thought that Xia would refute, but I never thought that Xia would agree with her refusal. Terumi-Mei instinctively felt something was wrong. When the conditions were almost finished, Terumi-Mei suddenly found out that the conditions behind Xia were all irrelevant. For example, what promises to never attack Konoha again? Cooperate with Konoha, the country of fire, and strengthen economic exchanges. These contents are not what Terumi-Mei imagined at all, they are getting more and more harsh, and it is getting harder and harder for her to accept. At this time, if she doesn't know that she has been tricked by Xia, then she will really live in vain. Your Excellency Xia, it's too much. Terumi-Mei angrily leaned against the table and questioned, her eyes like flames. His chest was heaving with anger. Excessive. Hearing this, Xia leaned back on the chair and smiled. She laughed very arrogantly, and then sneered, "Weak countries have no diplomacy, understand?" Terumi couldn't help shaking like an electric shock when she heard the words, "Weak countries have no diplomacy." She murmured twice, and then she slumped on the ground weakly, with a sad look on her face. "Let's go, the task is completed, it's time to go back and rest." Shajur-Ching got up and left with Anmuranabume and the two. "Asshole!" Shajur-Ching, one of Terumi-Mei's two guards, shouted angrily, but did not dare to take any action at all. Yes, weak countries have no diplomacy, how sad. In the end, according to the conditions of Konoha, the country of water compensated the country of fire, Konoha village, with 2.1 billion yuan, opened the trade port of the country of water, and agreed to the country of fire to establish a trade port area, and the country of fire had the final decision. The Konoha village Ninja Taedongshang port area is not under the jurisdiction of Korean village, and Korean village shall not interfere. Moreover, preferential treatment must be given. The country of fire is responsible for taxation, the country of water has no right to levy, etc. The unequal treaty between the land of water and the land of fire is hereby signed. I heard that after seeing this treaty, the daimyo of the land of water vomited blood and passed out. The first sentence after waking up was, "A weak country has no diplomacy, and sincerity does not deceive me. My country of water, why should I suffer such a calamity?" Since then, the saying that weak countries have no diplomacy has spread widely in the ninja world. The daimyo of the land of water is depressed, but the daimyo of the land of fire is happy. And it's ecstasy. No one would have thought that Sha Muyang was so good at negotiating and won such great benefits for the country of fire. He doesn't care about the 2.1 billion indemnity. Even a small country can take it out. What he was looking for was the trade port area. Anyone with a little brain will understand the value of this thing. It can be said that this thing is much stronger than the 2.1 billion indemnity. Ha ha ha, worthy of being the hero of my country of fire, he is too strong. The name of ecstasy directly rewarded Shajur-Ching with 500 million, and the position was also promoted to the deputy commander of the guard. With this position, many officials in the country of fire have to compliment Shajur-Ching. After all, this is the first-class position in the country of fire. There are only 3 superintendents in the whole country, but they are in charge of the details of the officials in the world. Once you offend him and reveal a little bit of details, your career will be over. Even the Prime Minister would not dare to be presumptuous in front of any of his lieutenants. Chapter 640 Strong Position. Of course, Shajur-Ching was quite a talkative person. After all, the world is unpredictable, and no one can say that there will be no place for them in the future. Moreover, this kind of position similar to Jinyiwei can become the public enemy of the world if you are not careful. Too domineering, not conducive to their own development. So, there is nothing wrong with having a good relationship with them. And Shajur-Ching's good words also made these officials more favorable to him. Therefore, Shajur-Ching's stores in the land of fire naturally received more preferential policies. Naturally, Shajur-Ching once again gave more discounts to the people of the land of fire, which made the reputation of Shajur-Ching's sculptures even louder. But Shajur-Ching's promotion made everyone in Konoha depressed. The most depressing thing is Jiraiya. He had subconsciously forgotten the identity of Shajur-Ching. Until this time, he didn't know how much risk he had in excluding Shajur-Ching. It is rude to say that as long as Shajur-Ching said a word, Konoha village is likely to suffer a great disaster. After all, the Minister of Finance of the Fire Nation has a strong relationship with Shajur-Ching. And Danzo, it's even more panic. His dirty deeds can't stand to be investigated. He now regrets handing over Mito Gate Yan, and he also regrets plotting against the 3 generations of Hokage. Without Mito Gate Yan to help him block the gun, without the 3 generations of Hokage favoring him, he only knew how sad his life was. To put it bluntly, she is similar to a beautiful woman who has been stripped of her clothes and left with a pair of panties. She can't hide her secrets at all. The rise of Shajur-Ching's position has also given him more power and a stronger voice in Konoha village. At least, Jiraiya doesn't dare to offend him now. Of course, Shajirching didn't plan to fight with Jiraiya and the others, and harmony is king. With Shajirching's powerful treaty in front of this pearl, and the results of the negotiation between Sun Xiang and Sun Ya, there was almost no splash. It's only been mentioned occasionally. Only when talking about Shajirching will the people show pride and emotion. Shajirching's prestige is getting higher and higher. All this makes Jiraiya very worried. And Shajirching has no time to worry about those things. He is now discussing with the consortium representative of the Land of Fire on how to rationally develop the trade port area of the Land of Water. The purpose of Shajirching's creation of this trade port area is to make a profit and let him have a stronger voice in this world. With the right to speak, speaking can be more powerful. Up to now, Shajirching himself is a big boss in black and white. Whether on the surface or behind the scenes, he has become a behemoth. Even the corner of iceberg is enough to make people stunned. That's why Jiraiya started to panic. But don't underestimate Jiraiya. His wealth is no lower than those in power of these consortiums. Moreover, he has traveled in various countries, has rich experience, has made many friends, and has a good reputation in various countries. Such a person, even the great name of the country of fire, should treat each other with courtesy. Those Fire Nation officials are not necessarily willing to offend Jiraiya easily. This is also why Jiraiya dared to offend Shajirching, who was already in a high position at the time. Because he himself is a great behemoth. And now, Jiraiya is beginning to panic in Shajirching. One can imagine how high his status is now.